We're talking to Miss Susan Short-Jones, who is the Chief Legal Officer for the metropolitan government here in Nashville, Tennessee. And let me welcome you to Black Pulse, Ms. Short-Jones.
Thank you, Dr. Haney.
We've dealt with the opportunities that have been available for black female attorneys in the area of law, Ms. Short-Jones, and I'd like to continue our discussion by talking about some of the opportunities in the public sector here in the metro government for black female attorneys and some of the status, if you will, of black female attorneys in these areas.
With respect to the metropolitan government, Dr. Haney, the Metropolitan Legal Department employs approximately 15 lawyers. Prior to my coming on board, there were 2 black lawyers employed in the Metro Legal Department, and none were female. Since I've been appointed, however, there are now 2 black female attorneys and 2 black male attorneys, and I believe now about 5 female attorneys all total.
As the Chief Legal Officer for the Metro government, exactly what does that entail, Ms. Jones?
Well, let me try and put it in perspective for you. The metropolitan government is much like a large corporation. We operate on about a $750 million budget annually and employ well over 10,000 individuals. The legal department serves as the legal counsel for that corporation, and we do everything from approving contracts to handling traffic appeals before the local courts.
And so as the Chief Legal Officer for the government, you are in a sense responsible for all of the lawyers who work for the Metro government. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Now, how many females do you have, not only black female attorneys, but how many female attorneys are there currently in this government?
Well, again, at the time that I came on board, there was 1 female attorney. There are now 5 female attorneys employed with the Department of Law, and that's an increase of, as you can tell, multifold over the past year.
And I guess what we're trying to determine are the programs that are available for those who would like to become involved in the legal profession from the government, from the local government point of view. Are there any programs to encourage greater participation of black females in the areas of law in the metropolitan government?
Well, I guess what I could say to that is that within our office, we do have opportunities for clerkships. We also employ what is referred to within the profession as runners. Currently, we have employed part-time a runner from Fisk University. So we encourage individuals who are interested in being exposed to the practice of law on a local level to contact us about the opportunities that may be available.
Now, of course, Nashville is a small metropolitan area. How would you compare the opportunities available for black female attorneys with the opportunities that might be available in a comparable city outside of Nashville?
Well, as Ms. Wooten indicated earlier, I believe that Nashville really offers a number of opportunities which apparently are not as available, even in larger metropolitan areas. We do have black females represented in most aspects of the practice of law throughout the city. Black lawyers in general have generally been concentrated in the public sector, but they experience the problems that I guess females experience in general in encountering that glass ceiling where you get involved in the public sector, but you rarely have an opportunity to engage in the more responsible type of work and be involved in leadership positions. So in that respect, I think Nashville is much different than larger metropolitan areas because you have individuals such as Ms. Wooten and Ms. Williams who are in essentially leadership roles in the practice of law.
Now, if you had to identify what you consider to be some of the most important problems that might inhibit greater minority participation in law, what would be some of those problems?
Problems that inhibit minority participation.
Greater minority participation.
I guess perhaps the greatest obstacle is passage of the bar upon completion of law school. and that's a problem for blacks in general, I think, and it's a problem that is very difficult to address. After that, we often find ourselves limited in terms of the types of opportunities that we can avail ourselves of. It's only been recently that black lawyers and black women have had a real opportunity to get involved in the private sector. As I said before, we've been concentrated largely in public type roles, and then we have not been in positions of leadership where we make decisions about who gets hired and who gets fired. I think that's changing, however, as a result of a program that has recently been implemented through the American Bar Association. You are finding more and more large majority firms trying to attract minority lawyers for economic reasons, because what you have are larger corporations such as General Motors and MCI saying to those large firms, if you're going to handle our business, we want you to have minority lawyers on board, and we want those people to be involved in responsible positions where they get to learn some of the work that really produces the money.
And so there are many, many opportunities that are now available in the area of law. Now, you mentioned the fact that up until quite recently, most of those opportunities had been in the public sector rather than the private sector. What would you say in terms of encouraging the greater participation of minorities into this private sector?
I guess what I would say is that it's very important for all of us to set goals. As with any profession where you want to be successful, you must set goals, and then you must have a commitment to reach those goals. I think that representation in those fields with people such as those as you've interviewed today indicate that there is a willingness on the part of the majority population to allow us to enter. And our dedication, I think, is the thing that's really going to make a difference in terms of how well we do in those fields.
Very good. I think we've got about a minute before we conclude this segment of our program. Indeed, we conclude this program. Ms. Short-Jones, let me thank you as well as the other members of our committee for coming by today. Is there a last parting word that you would like to say dealing with the question of black female attorneys that perhaps we could close our program on today?
Well, I guess if I had anything to say, Dr. Haney, what I would add is that we all follow in the footsteps of giants such as J.C. Napier and Alexander Luby and Aquinas Inix and those people who made it possible for us to be where we are today. And I can only say that I hope that as a result of us being in the positions that we hold, that we will make the path a little smoother for those that follow behind us.
Very good. And let me thank you again, as well as other members of our committee, for coming by and giving us that very, very important information today. And let me encourage our listeners to tune in again next week for another informative edition of the Black Pulse of Nashville, and to also remind them that this is only the first part of a two-part series that we have dealing with black females in the profession. Later we will talk about black female politicians, and that will sort of give us an idea of what black women are doing, not only in the profession of law, but also in the profession of politics. Again, let me encourage you to tune in again next week for another informative edition of the Black Pulse of Nashville.
Monday night at 6 on